What's up YouTube? Today in this video I want to talk about how I made 6 figures online in 2018 by selling dropshipping courses. And I did this all without getting on camera. You see me on camera now, but until recently I did not put my face out there. I was more or less completely anonymous. Few people knew my name, who I am, but mostly it was all done under a pen name with a cartoon avatar. And despite all that, I was able to make over 6 figures just by selling my dropshipping course, plus I've got other streams of income as well that are anonymous too. So selling courses is a great business, as a lot of people know, but what a lot of people don't know is that it can also be done anonymously. A lot of people don't want to get on camera, and they think for that reason the whole personal branding route isn't an option, and they are dead wrong. So the truth is, you can do it without getting on camera. However, you've got several disadvantages compared to your competitors or compared to other people who are willing to get on camera and talk about their experiences. How do you overcome this downside, this harder task you have because you want to stay anonymous? Well, in my opinion, you just have to really convince with your content. Personally, I posted a lot of applicable stuff. I posted a lot of very actionable advice on Twitter. That's how I grew my audience, by posting very specific advice on Twitter about dropshipping, in the start at least. I built up a following, I built up credibility, and honestly, I wasn't even planning on selling a course anytime soon. But after just like 1 or 2 months, people started asking me for a course. 1 or 2 months, tweeting every single day about dropshipping, about e-com, about Facebook ads. Suddenly people were asking me, where can I buy your course? Or whose course do you recommend? And that's only when I decided to make a course. I didn't know I was going down this route. Before then, decided to make the course, and it was a huge success, despite what a lot of naysayers perhaps thought about selling like a $400, $500 course anonymously. It does work. People will hand you their hard-earned cash for a quality product, even if they haven't seen your face before. How? You have to convince through content. My sort of slogan back then was credibility through content. You should trust me, not because I drive a Lamborghini, not because you've seen me on camera, not because you've heard my voice a ton, although I did do some podcasts and stuff. You should trust me because I've given you advice in the past, you used it, you saw that it works, and now you're coming back for more advice. That's the only reason why you should listen to what I have to say. Certainly the only reason why you should pay for courses or pay for my consulting advice or whatever. If you haven't received value, if you haven't profited, if you haven't made hard, solid dollars from the advice I give for free, then I don't think you should be giving me money. Because if you do that consistently, you're going to get ripped off. If you give some random YouTuber who has a cool sales page and made a cool YouTube ad, if you just throw money at him for his course, you're going to get ripped off, you're going to get scammed. I recommend you only invest your money into courses or info products or just anything in general really, once you've already received good solid information, you've put that to use and you've seen that it works. That's how I evaluate experts and gurus and all that, and it's worked well for me. I've very rarely been ripped off, and the few times I have been, it's because I ignored my own advice here. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. So how did I make 6 figures online selling courses without getting on camera? I've already hinted at it. I built my audience on Twitter. I just posted a lot on Twitter, usually 10, 15 times a day. I interacted there. I put out content that's sort of provocative, that has viral potential. So there's like 2 different types of tweets. There's highly actionable stuff about a specific topic, like Facebook ads, like Shopify, like dropshipping. Or there's more general stuff, which is kind of provocative, and that's stuff that can go viral. Viral is of course relative. I'm not talking on the level of Trump or Kanye West. I'm just saying it can get 100 retweets or something and get a lot of attention to my Twitter profile. Highly actionable advice doesn't do well in terms of numbers. However, highly actionable advice is what you need in the beginning to show your credibility. Because if you're posting like motivational messages or more generic stuff when you've got 112 followers, nobody's going to take you seriously, nobody's going to care. If you post those same messages once you've got 5,000, suddenly everyone gives a shit, suddenly everyone loves your tweets, retweets you, likes you, whatever. That's just the way it is. In the beginning, you have to post very, very actionable content. Practical stuff, show examples from your stores, show screenshots. I did that in the beginning. I kind of stopped because I'm not quite happy with some of the trends I see with people sharing screenshots. One suspects they aren't all real. One suspects they don't all belong to the person's store who is sharing them. We'll leave it at that without calling anybody out specifically. So I stopped sharing screenshots at some point, but in the beginning I absolutely did, to sort of prove that I do actually make money with Shopify. I do actually dropship successfully. In the beginning, you have to build up that credibility, and the credibility doesn't have to involve your face though. Credibility can and should be created through content instead, because that's the best type of credibility. What credibility is it that I've got an M3 or a Lamborghini? Both can be rented. Both can be bought from my course income. I post a picture of my Lamborghini every single day. Then okay, that's probably proof that it's not rented. But is it proof that I earned that money with Shopify? No, it isn't. I could have earned that with selling courses. I could have inherited the money. I could have had it saved up all along. I could earn it from my job, whatever. You don't know where that money comes from when all you see is status symbols. There's nothing wrong with status symbols and following pages with luxury cars or whatever, but if you want to build a personal brand anonymously, you don't have that option, so you have to look for something that's a little more solid. You have to have content. You have to have information that people learn from, take action on, and then see results from. That's my first sort of main pillar of why I've been able to be successful selling courses without getting on camera until very, very recently. Second important ingredient to my success is a very, very visible success story. And that success story is, of course, Nate Schmidt. If you're not on Twitter, you probably don't know who Nate is, or who I am, of course, but Nate was my first, or one of my first students. I kind of mentored him, I took him under my wing, I helped him out building his first 1 or 2 Shopify stores. I answered his questions in the DMs, and I saw potential in him because he'd studied copywriting, which is huge. If you study copywriting before getting into dropshipping, your chance of success is just dramatically higher. Plus, he just had this way of going about business. He was asking questions almost every single day. He was bugging me every day, but there was always a new problem. He wasn't stuck on the same issue. He'd solved this problem from the day before and was on to something else. So he showed signs of promise, so I kind of helped him there, and of course he's been madly successful. He's actually had way more profitable dropshipping stores than I have, or actually I think he's got one main store that's very profitable. I've never had a store that's scaled to the heights that he has. My stores are more like in the 5 to 10 grand a month revenue range, going up to 15 in a good month, but I've got multiple stores. So that's kind of the trade-off. I didn't have that one massive hit. I had multiple stores that were pretty good, but nothing spectacular, and didn't want to really talk about dropshipping here, but the problem with having multiple stores like that is if you're very busy, if you're building multiple businesses, if you work a job like I do as well, then the more different stores you have to look after, the higher the chances one of them is going to start dipping in income simply because you don't have the time, you don't have the focus, you don't have the attention to detail on all these stores. Whereas if you just have one, you can spend an hour a day on that and that will move ahead just fine if you've got the team in place. I kind of had the team in place. I had the team in place to manage orders, to do customer service, to put up some new products and all that, but I didn't really have the team in place for creating new offers. I didn't have the team in place for finding new products to sell in that niche and creating the Facebook ads for it. My team can manage the Facebook ads, but my team of VAs, they weren't trained well enough to actually go out and find winning products themselves and run the ads for them. I honestly don't know whether that's even possible or whether that's something you almost always have to do yourself if you want it done well, because it's just such a key component of dropshipping. But I certainly wasn't able to train my team of VAs well enough to do that heavy lifting part of the process. So what happens is they kind of manage the stores, and they did that well. They managed them well. They've done great customer support, but they aren't moving the stores forward. And what happens if you just maintain for 6 months, 9 months, income starts dipping. That's just the way it naturally happens. New competitors come in who are focusing on, who have an entrepreneur behind them, who have a good marketer behind them, who's putting in daily effort. I wasn't doing that, I'm still not doing that, and I have no intention of doing that, but naturally the income just goes down. And this is where Nate has been lucky or better in his execution. He just has one big store and has focused on scaling that rather than having multiple stores making a little bit of money each. So really the point of all this was to say that the key, or one of the keys to my success, was having Nate, who is public, he's online with his full name, he's got his picture up, and he's got a big mouth as well. He's got a bigger mouth than I do, he's less humble than I am, and he likes to talk about successes, and rightly so. He is very successful with Shopify dropshipping, as well as Twitter and copywriting and all that stuff as well. So I had him sort of as a public case study. Everyone saw him come up, go from nothing to making $100 a day, to $1,000 a day, to suddenly having $100,000 weekend over Black Friday last year. Everyone saw it on Twitter, and because he has said I'm the one who helped him get started with dropshipping, sort of his credibility wore off on me, and he's been kind enough to promote my course as well for me partly. So that's worked really well, sort of a symbiotic relationship there. So that's the second key factor to my success. Was this luck? Kind of. I couldn't have predicted getting someone like Nate. I could have had other students who weren't as big into the personal branding, weren't as open, weren't as public about their success. And I have some students like that as well, who I really appreciate. I love that they're doing well, but they haven't helped my business as much simply because they started making a lot of money, but they weren't so public about it. They just kind of made their money and were quiet about it in the background, which is fine. That's the way my personality is as well. I don't necessarily brag about my income. It certainly doesn't come naturally to me. But having someone like Nate who goes out there and really boasts about his successes, I think that's really, really valuable. If you can find someone like that to use as like your successful student, your case study of what you can teach, then that is very, very valuable for your personal brand, for anyone's personal brand, but especially for you if you are anonymous, if you haven't put your face out there. The next thing I did, which most Shopify YouTubers really neglect, is email marketing. I built up a solid email list all through Twitter, and I send out daily emails there. Now, these emails, they kind of follow like the Ben Settle style. You probably, if you're not on Twitter, you don't know who that is. Ben Settle is an old school copywriter, and nowadays he teaches email marketing. His big thing is writing an email every single day. You might be thinking that's too much. Who's going to open and read your email every single day? Well, you'd be surprised, because if you're doing email marketing correctly, then your emails are A, entertaining, and B, they're fun to read. That's kind of the same thing. But they also sell something in every single email. So you're giving people information, you're entertaining them, you're being funny, you're telling a story, you're talking about issues that are in their mind, and then you're presenting your product as a solution. You do that every single day. You're not giving out a hard pitch every single day, but you just have a link at the end. And by the way, if you found this useful, you should really check out video number 7 on my course, and it goes into more detail, blah, 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 blah. So something like that, a simple little soft sell at the end of your emails every single day, and people will buy from those. Perhaps not on the first time of seeing it, perhaps not on the second day, but people keep reading the emails because they deliver valuable content and they're entertaining and fun. They're light to read, they don't take a lot of time. They're basically like doing daily YouTube videos, except through a different medium. A medium, by the way, that I believe is far more conducive to selling rather than watching YouTube videos. It's also a platform you own, like nobody can take my email list away from me. You can be banned from YouTube any single day if you violate some terms, or Google decides they don't like you, don't like your face, don't like your teeth, don't like your hair, whatever. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all these platforms, they can take you down. Your email list, it can't be taken away from you. So those were the 3 ways I believe, or the 3 reasons I believe I was able to succeed selling dropshipping courses without putting my face out there. I know this is a little bit of a strange video, perhaps if you're accustomed to watching Shopify YouTubers talk about their Shopify earnings. Well, I don't really want to go that route. I don't want to be another Shopify YouTuber. I already look too much like Hayden Bowles or half these other kids. So I'll let them do their thing, and I'll talk about some other topics in online marketing that perhaps you don't see discussed much elsewhere, like building a personal brand anonymously, doing it on Twitter, email marketing, all that stuff that gets neglected by other YouTubers. That's what I'm going to talk about here on this channel. So thank you very much for watching, and if you found this interesting, insightful, valuable, whatever, go give me a like down below and hit that subscribe button for more content in the future.